Hello everyone, I'm the Mass Analyst. This is a response to Fabio Crow 07770. Fabio Crow, you asked Renato and everybody else who went over to Vloggerheads who was complaining about YouTube to just suspend their accounts. If you don't like it here on YouTube, just get rid of your accounts and go. Well, I'm also a member of Vloggerheads, and I have a beef with YouTube. My beef with YouTube is the way that they sometimes apparently arbitrarily suspend accounts. Now, YouTube brags that it's the largest town hall in the world. And as such, it seems to me like they have a responsibility not to kick people off arbitrarily. Of course, it's their site and they can do what they want. But if they really are a center where people can speak freely, if they really are the largest town hall in the world, then it seems to me that they have some sort of at least a moral responsibility not to abuse that power arbitrarily. Now, maybe they don't intentionally abuse that power arbitrarily. I'm not saying that they are intentionally scheming. Oh, let's see how we can screw with his life or her life. Or I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that they're intentionally doing this, but it seems to me, from what I have seen and from my own experiences, if YouTube gets the MCA notices, takedown notices, they won't even do an ounce of investigation, not even a scintilla of investigation as to whether there's any merit to the investigation. They'll remove your video. And if they get 3 strikes and you're out and your account is suspended. Indeed, today I got a letter from somebody asking me for advice on how they can get their account restored. And they say, and again, there's no way I can verify this, but they say that they didn't get 3 strikes. In fact, they were suspended on their first offense. Now, if this is true, then YouTube is enforcing its policies inconsistently. I have no way of verifying whether or not it's true, but I've heard enough people say that they've been suspended for unfair reasons. Now, if YouTube is going to kick people out, and if they're and they are indeed the place to get your voice heard, it seems to me like they ought to take a little bit more responsibility. They ought to have a way for the average YouTuber to appeal the process, to get at least feedback, give and take, be able to have sort of a court of appeals. That would be my biggest beef with YouTube. Now, you challenge Renato to suspend his account. How many other consumer products, if people don't like the product, do you think that consumers boycott? Like, suppose I like Coke better than Pepsi. Well, if there happens to not be Coke around, or then, hey, I'm going to go grab a Pepsi. My loyalty isn't to a particular product. I might go for what's available. If something's on sale, I might go and get that. I don't have too many loyalties to too many specific products. I don't know how many other people have loyalties, why we have to choose one or the other. Each site may have its strengths, and each site may have its weaknesses. YouTube's obvious strength is the audience, the size of the audience. Hopefully, Vloggerheads, one of their main strengths is they're not going to reward people for perjury. Now, I'm not saying YouTube intentionally rewards people for perjury, but if you perjure yourself and claim that you own the copyright in another video, and you don't own that copyright, and you file a complaint against someone in hopes to get their account suspended, it's been my experience that YouTube will honor that DMCA complaint and remove it, even if it's perjury. Now, I don't believe for a minute that YouTube, in doing so, realized that they were honoring perjury, but they don't investigate. They don't investigate whatsoever. Hopefully, Vloggerheads will not reward perjury in this manner. Maybe YouTube has instituted a system to screen out false DMCAs. Maybe they are now being a little bit more careful. But if so, their communication with their users on this subject is lousy. I really don't know what's going on inside of the black box. Let me give you another example. I know that I don't like the Chinese government and the way they censor people. I don't like the way they crack down on Tiananmen Square. And I think there are very few Americans who do. There are very few. Does that mean that any American who's ever complained about the Chinese system should boycott watching the Olympics, or should boycott anything made in China? Well, in an ideal world, yeah, that would be nice. But let's face it. If you boycott everything that was made in China, you're going to have a damn hard time buying clothes. You're going to have a damn hard time buying a hell of a lot of things. The world is interconnected, and sometimes we have to uh, work with people that we don't necessarily like, or we may like certain aspects of what they do, and we try and work with them in those aspects, and hopefully, while we're working with them, while we're communicating with them, we'll say, hey, this is something that you're doing that I really don't like. Here's where maybe you should change things. Think about it. Uh, the world isn't black and white, and to expect those who are at Vloggerheads to give up their YouTube account is really quite unrealistic. Right now, there's a relatively small number of people at Vloggerheads. Vloggerheads will never, ever, ever have the type of audience that YouTube does. Yeah, I don't particularly like the way the people who are running YouTube, the way they're running their site. I don't particularly like it. Well, that's tough luck. Nothing I can do about that. That doesn't mean that if I want to get my ideas out to a wide audience, that I should boycott their site. Uh, it does mean that I can feel free to speak up about it. And I do speak up about it, realizing full well that at any time YouTube could pull the plug. At any time they could suspend my account if they get fed up. Now, hopefully that won't happen. Fortunately, so far they've been tolerant, but you never know. You never know when that's going to happen. Well, so that's my view on these things. I think what you're asking is a little bit unrealistic, but hey, it's your right to ask. This is the Masked Analyst, under and in.